Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I am your host, Perry. Daggone it, across from me is Eric Smith.
Do you want to play a game? I want to play a game. You have to drink this entire bottle of bourbon in 30 minutes or else your turtle gets a knife to the back. There's a key hidden at the bottom of the bottle. You must drink the bottle, then you have to poop it out and get out of this room. We were talking about Saw earlier. So.
I like how every week with you, it's a different, salutation.
I wanted to try to think of, a good, catchphrase. And every time I think of something, I'm like, no. So I think I'm just going to keep rolling with it. And then
I like it.
We'll see.
It's no grab that gem, but nothing ever will be.
Grab that gem.
Hey, if you are new to the show, thank you so much for being here. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. If you're returning, hello. Hope you're well. Love you. Mwah. It's a little kiss I give to the returning listeners every time.
He did, too.
Just a little mwah.
I see it.
I didn't fake it.
I don't know.
I didn't put it in. I didn't put it in post.
Maybe they thought it was one of those buttons you hit, and you just hit it.
I need to get one of those. I've been thinking about getting one for the podcast so that I can just kind of control everything. And
every time I say something stupid, you're like, no whammies.
No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Also, if you could please leave us a 5-star rating and review, that would be spectacular. We would appreciate that a lot. Helps us get up in the iTunes charts. And also patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast for as little as $1 a month. Oh, and also, haven't gotten to say this yet officially on the podcast because it happened the day before last week's episode came out. And we had already recorded everything for last week. But we hit 1,000 subs on YouTube finally, so...
See, and you hit the button out, and it goes, yeah! Explosions.
Hit the wrong button, it's just, oh. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to the Bourbon Junkies as well for sending people over to get us over that 1,000 hump. I've never experienced rapid growth like that in anything that I've created. You know, I see you formulating a joke in the back of your head. I understand. I know it was there. I didn't want to entertain it, but you were really stifling your desire to make a comment about what I just said. But I mean, we started the year at 500 subs, maybe. Might have been less than that.
You did a subathon, what?
The subathon back in March, I mean, that brought us, a few hundred extras.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of slowed down up until about, a few weeks ago. And then it skyrocketed again. And then it took a little bit for us to get to 1,000. But we're there. We made it. Content's going to be ramping up soon over there as well. Just thank you guys so much. Really, really do appreciate it. I feel like I had something else I was going to say. I don't know what it was.
Thank you for letting me be on the live last night.
You're welcome. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. We're, this is like a big... Oh, come on. I'm kidding. I hate that I'm getting spam on the barrel rings number.
We got a new barrel rings. Would you like to consolidate your student loans?
We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. I want to see... so this is an unofficial barrel rings. We're going to see if anything useful came of this. Nope, dead silence.
They chickened out. They just hung up. It's like when you're young and you try to call your girlfriend or somebody you like, and you just let it sit there and you just hang up really fast.
Her dad answers.
Yeah.
Who is this? Smith residence.
You want to play a game? Don't call my girl.
I'd like to play a game, but we're not at home right now. Please leave a message after the beep. So here's the thing we're going to be doing for a little while. We got sent a big old box of goodies from Don Nishida.
From Hawaii.
All the way in Hawaii. And, he wanted us to pair something with each of these products. And they're all like baked goods or candies or what have you. And so for the next few weeks, we're going to be replacing Flying Blind with, I don't know, what are we going to call this? Pears and Pours?
Pears and Pours. I like that.
Okay, cool. Pears is spelled P-E-R-R-S, though, like Pear Bear.
Oh. I see.
Or I'm the Pear, P-A-I-R Bear.
The Pear Bear.
I got to turn this fan on. I'm sweating.
Turn it on. Over. Other over. Toward me.
I'm going towards you.
Yep. There it is. The good thing about all these snacks, though, is because they're most of it is stuff I've never had before. They're all like Japanese snacks, and
this is a lemon wheat cake.
I'm going to attempt to read.
Here we go.
What it's called. Chikuho Ippon Castera. In parentheses, Japanese baked wheat cake. And it's awesome package. I took a picture of it, and we'll put it up on Instagram or Facebook or something if you want to see it.
So we did a little bit of homework with this right before. Did it during the pregame chats. And we kind of nailed this one right away.
Yeah.
As far as pairing goes.
It's a very light, almost lemon sponge cake. Mm-hmm. Very light.
It's very delicate.
So instantly we knew we didn't need anything high proof. Way too overpowering. But I thought a rye would go great with this, just to add a little bit of extra spice to it. And Perry instantly pointed out this Dickel rye that was sitting over here, which is, it's MGP, right? Mm-hmm. 95.5?
Yep.
Oh, and it's so good. This cake, this little lemon sponge cake with that rye, turns it into this almost like a gingerbread, not like a crunchy gingerbread cookie, but like a gingerbread cake.
Yeah.
And you can pour the whiskey right into this, and it will just soak it up, and that is where it's at right there.
And I just did a little pour over, and it worked perfectly. Oh. I mean, it was just special the way that it worked.
Oh, yeah.
The king of pairings approves.
Oh, yeah. So, anybody has a Japanese baked wheat cake and you got some 95.5 rye, just try it. Trust us.
Do you think that Don wants us to do all this so that he doesn't have to do the pairing work himself and he can just go in and...
Oh, he's going to go into like his bourbon club or his whiskey club.
Where
and
his
he's
little monkeys dancing for him.
Yes.
Dance, my
dance for me. Well, there you go, Don. Just don't let them listen to this episode, and you can go in and pair all you want.
You'll be the pairing king of Hawaii.
The, what? Kamehameha? King
Yeah,
Kamehameha?
King Kamehameha.
King Para.
We're going to get canceled. Anyway. Eric, what the heck have you been drinking recently?
What have I been drinking recently? Well, speaking of pairing, earlier this week I was seeing what went best with a Nestle Crunch bar. I ended up pairing it with Kentucky Owl Rye Batch 3.
Yeah, and you got friggin' Dixon to comment on it, too, which was awesome.
And now I hope Dixon tries it because he said he would. But in the midst of all that, I revisited another rye that I hadn't had in a while. I had it narrowed down to these two. It was Kentucky Owl and Master's Keep rye. Is it Cornerstone?
Oh, yeah, Cornerstone.
It didn't fit quite with the Nestle Crunch, but after I was done, I went back to it and I enjoy that rye so much.
Yeah, man.
It has this green, almost like a green apple candy, like a sucker note to it that it didn't go great with the chocolate, but it's just a unique rye. Like turkey rye products, they're
special.
They're all good.
Yeah.
I love turkey rye products, especially that one. So I hadn't had that in a while, and it really made me just sit there and just enjoy that pour.
Did you alternate and try the rare breed rye instead?
I didn't.
That would be interesting. Seeing if that one, same distillery,
Right.
of course, and
I took 2 bourbons and 2 ryes, and those were the 2 ryes that I had. So, but yeah, that would be good too.
do more homework for you.
I mean, I guess if you gotta pull my leg.
Well, I just I picked up a couple of bottles over the past few days. One of them we're going to be reviewing
Oh, are we?
in this episode. Not particularly excited about it, but it's totally fine. It's just
Hey,
how it's going
the
to go.
people got to know, right?
They got to know.
They got to know.
And I also, in this same store, found one of the old label Knob Creek single barrels.
I like those labels.
I do too. I prefer the new ones. I think that they're a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
And they stand out better. But I was just like, I mean, this could be, I know it's age stated 9 years, but
15.
could be older.
Yeah.
I mean, this was from around that era where they had older single barrels.
And
coming
that's
out.
the only thing I didn't like about those is like, unless it was like a group that put a sticker on it or something, like if you went into like Kroger, it just had the little silver plate on it
Yeah.
that just said, and it didn't really give you any information if it was, 15 years, 12 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like that label. I think it's kind of nostalgic now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, now that I know where there are more of these, I can go back.
Oh.
I'll share that with you as well later on. Did you know that you have your headphones backwards?
Do I?
Yeah.
I'm new to this, okay? We're in the studio now.
We're actually in the studio. We're not in the living room.
That feels so much better.
I was going to say, I bet that feels more comfortable.
My ears don't feel like they're getting ready to just fall off due to compression.
But I also did pick up a new Knob Creek pick from Ernie's.
Oh, is this the Buzz Lightyear one?
To the infinity bottle and beyond. Have you had this yet?
I have.
It's so good.
It is.
I was not prepared for how bold it was.
To be one of the, they started doing the 9 years and the 10,
Yeah.
to be one of those, like, it has a lot going on with it. I actually have the rye pick, too.
Do you?
Yeah, so I have to bring that over. You can try
Yeah,
that.
please. It makes me think that because of how intense the flavors are, I wonder if this came out of the barrel at a lower proof than a lot of them typically do. Because it doesn't taste like there was a lot of water added to it.
No.
And it reminds me very heavily of the pick I did, the first pick I did for Liquor Barn, where we had that 13.5-year-old 121 proof.
That's right
Creek.
there. Oh.
I still have dreams. I still have dreams about that bottle. But this is an incredible pick. I have not that I ever really fell out, but I've just fallen back in love with Knob Creek picks recently. I just can't get enough of them.
We tried the one from Hawaii on the live stream last night, and I thought that was amazing.
Very Hawaii heavy content recently. for some reason.
It is. Hawaii, can you sponsor us?
This episode is brought to you by the state of Hawaii.
Kamea.
I'm dead. I'm absolutely dead. That's fantastic. So we are doing only toasted bottles today.
We have one non-toasted. I told you I brought something to
Oh yeah, that's right.
because
Oh,
you want to tell them what we're doing?
well, we're reviewing Basil Hayden toast
Okay,
later
so
on. Did you bring regular Basil Hayden? Dadgummit.
I had to.
You did.
And this is the perfect scenario for Basil Hayden, okay? Because, full transparency, this bottle was given to me by a coworker for a Christmas present who knows I like bourbon, but, I'm not sharing everything I like at work and all that. But they were nice enough to get a bottle. And I think that this is probably one of those, Basil Hayden is one of those bottles that if you don't really know much, you may think it's cool to give to somebody.
Yeah.
You know, based on the way it looks. So I had it. I've never opened it. It's from last year.
Aw.
And I thought, you know what? Before I try Basil Hayden Toastin'?
Toasting.
I'm getting toastin' in here.
And it's just toast.
Toast. Just toast. Basil Hayden Toast. We should try a little bit of this.
That's totally fine. I say we do that. But I also think because we are reviewing this,
Okay.
I want to save it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we've done early episode reviews before. And, I mean, this is only 80 proof.
Right.
But everything else that we're having is lower proof.
Yes.
So I don't see any reason why we need to do this right off the bat.
No.
So we've got the Basil Hayden Toast,
Yes.
Elijah Craig Toasted,
Yes.
Michter's Sour Mash Toasted,
Okay.
Michter's Rye Toasted.
Yes.
And am I missing one?
I have a Nulu toasted.
Nulu Toasted.
Just to
There
do a
we
little
go.
MGP.
Is that... Oh, that one might be higher proof.
It is higher. That was the last. I thought just like a ringer to throw in there if we wanted
Yeah,
to.
we'll do that one after we actually do the review.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it straight off the bat.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, too, since it's now on the table, my feelings towards Basil Hayden.
Tell me about it.
So, background for anybody who doesn't know. Basil Hayden is actually the granddad of Old Grandad fame.
The granddad of the granddad?
He is the granddad of Old Granddads. So this is, of course, in tribute to a member of the Beam family, Mr. Basil himself. And this is one of those where I had it when I was first starting, thought that I really liked it, then got into higher proof, older, better
Just be honest.
And the note that I have always said about this is that it tastes like bourbon flavored water. It's like if you left a bunch of ice cubes in your bourbon and they melted and then it got bottled.
It looks like that when it's in a glass. Now, are all the Basil Hayden expressions, are they all 80 proof?
They are all 80 proof.
10 year, the Caribbean or whatever it is,
The-
Pirates of the Basil Hayden.
The dark rye, the regular rye, the 10-year rye. Yeah, they are all 80 proof.
Okay.
And I guess that's, I mean, it's their prerogative to do something that unique and to stick to a particular part of their brand.
Yeah,
But, you know,
it is what it is.
it is what it is. We're never going to see a Basil Hayden higher than 80 proof, I would say. How's it taste?
Completely honest, not like much. I mean, I won't lie. I mean, there's a little bit of, you know, on the nose, you can get a little bit of, I don't know if that's brown sugar. It's just so hard. It's just so hard to really dig into this because it's just nothing there.
Oh, it even smells like watered down bourbon.
Yeah, the finish makes you think that you just drank. It's like the end of a cocktail and you just got all the water.
I don't want to drink this. Like, my body is like trying to get me to not drink
It's the
this.
bottom of an old fashioned. It's when it's been sitting there and you're waiting on your second old fashioned and it's, you know, it's busy at the bar, you know, so you're like, I'm just going to finish this off. And it's nothing but a little bit of like orange bitter water. That's what it is.
Golly.
See Perry's face right now.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to be objective about this, but this is such a good indication of this is just not for me.
No. And it's going to be for somebody. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
anybody who drinks it, you know, you don't know what you're
Wrong.
doing because, you know, that's your thing. But
Yeah.
for us, no, this is the last sip in a watered down old fashioned to me.
I mean, I would even go so far as to say, again, that it's like, I need to fix the garage door. You shouldn't be able to see light coming through the top of your garage door. Sorry. My brain's working great today.
This has been home improvement.
But I mean, this really does read to me like just a straight pour of bourbon that has been watered down. I mean, which is a flavor that I hate. Like, just straight up, I don't like that flavor. It kind of repulses me a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry. I don't mean to just dunk on this, but especially if that was a gift from a coworker.
No, I mean, I appreciated it. Like, I kept it at the house.
Of course.
Because, you know, you always want to have stuff that maybe people, you know, they're not as nerdy about things, or they just want a regular bourbon. But, you know, it came in handy because here we are. We get to use it for this. Because I really wanted to have that. I hadn't had Basil Hayden regular in forever. So I was like, you know, if I want try the toast, I want to kind of get a control, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to finish the rest of this and let's move on to something.
Yeah. I also heard
Hopefully
that.
better.
Who was it? Was it Swan? Swan talked about how that paper wrapping was so annoying for businesses because he said kids or anybody would just tear the paper, and I never got that packaging, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. Mictors.
Mictors?
Is that how you say it?
Sir Mash?
86 proof.
Sir Mash.
Sir Mash. Toasted.
Toasted. Toast. Toast. Come.
My brain hurts. I'm glad I ordered extra food from Tally-Ho today.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
So here's where my fat kid brain went last night. I heard somebody say the phrase hot mess. And all I've been able to think about since last night until I woke up today and ordered it was the hot mess sandwich from Tally-Ho.
That's the ultimate late night.
This is an early tips and bits, but if you are ever in Lexington, and it doesn't even have to be when you're drunk, and you just want to go find really good local food, it's kind of a greasy spoon. They have this breakfast sandwich. 2 pieces of toast, scrambled egg. Well, I guess it's like a folded egg. 2 pieces of sausage, bacon, and hash browns. And let me tell you, it is so good. It has no right to be as good as it is either, because it is just so much all at one time. And I love that thing to death. I ate it so much in college, or at least when I was still in Lexington for college. But
here's a early tips and bit too. If you go to a WWE event that lasts late in the night, there's a chance you may meet Seth Rollins, Cesaro, and Baron Corbin there, because that's happened.
Does that happen to you?
It did. Maybe
Holy cow.
Maybe go back and add the bleep sign in when I'm saying all that, so it's not like I'm giving the celebrities their hideout.
How many people are listening to this do you really think are going to come to Lexington and want to go to Tally-Ho to find these wrestling celebrities?
You're probably right. Never mind. It was only because they were traveling through, and it was like it's one of the only places open that late after an event.
I think it's open pretty much 24 hours.
Yeah. So
or if not 24, at least like until 3 a.m. and then open at 7.
Right. So there's not a lot of places to choose from that late. So if you're at even a concert or some kind of event, there's a chance you may run into somebody there, because that's the only thing open to eat.
There you go. How is this sour mash, this toasted sour mash?
Okay, I love Michter's products. I'm not as big as fan on the lower proof stuff, because the sour mash is
86.
86.
Yeah. It smells pretty good.
It smells to be close to 80 proof, like the regular Basil. It smells good. So if I was going to drink something that's tastes a little more watered down, it would be something like this.
Yeah.
You get the toast on the finish, I think.
86 it's about as low of proof as I will go. I mean, typically I don't really go much lower than 90.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is good.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I mean, you could drink a whole Glencairn of this right now and be like, give me something else.
What's next?
But
I'll say this too. I don't know how I got this bottle.
really,
I never bought it. I don't even know if anybody gifted it to me.
Somebody listening right now is like, that's mine.
There is a chance that it could have just somehow fallen into my lap after the bourbon weekend.
Oh, that's good. Michter's actually sent that to you. You forgot you were supposed to review it, and that's why you've never got another Michter's product before.
At Andrea from Michter's on the live show, and then they're just kind of like,
no.
That was his final chance.
He got one chance.
It's like the friend who never says thank you after a birthday gift. But it's only because they never actually got it. It's not that they're a jerk. They just don't remember.
They don't remember it. This isn't bad.
No, but I also don't think it's like great.
I don't think it's worth an allocation. Like,
No.
I think they've only released it like once or twice, and it's not anything that I would want in a lottery or a raffle.
You know, I feel like I've gotten sent this in samples multiple times from multiple listeners. And I don't know why. I mean, thank you everybody who sent samples. If you want to send more samples, please let me know and we'll make that happen. But yeah, this is just aggressively fine.
Yeah.
We haven't had anything yet on the podcast today that we've been excited about.
Japanese wheat cake poured over with
George Dickel
rye.
That's fair.
All right, what's next?
What else did you bring? Oh, do we want to do the Michter's rye? What's the proof on it?
I think that should be the last one.
You think that should be the very last one?
I think so. Do you have the Elijah Craig?
I got the Elijah Craig.
All right, let's do that.
I'm in a weird mood today.
You're always happy, but you're like in a very cheery, happy.
I don't know I kind of hate it.
I hate being happy.
No, it's not that. It's just kind of like I feel like I'm being too much. No. You know what I mean?
No.
So, I don't know. Something's going to come crashing down and ruin my mood later today. I'm sure of it.
Hey, right now, though?
I did get a great picture of our baby from my mom.
Oh.
She has started learning what it means when you say cheese. And she'll do it really quickly, just a very quick but this was her out in the backyard at my mom and dad's.
That's a great thing. That's going to be one that pops up over the years as she gets older, and you want to show her every birthday. You got to show her that one. That's cute.
We both were very fortunate to have just stupid cute kids.
I mean,
I feel like
my kids are cute. The older they get, though, the sneakier they are, and they try to use that cuteness right back on you like a secret weapon. Don't look at me like that when you've done something bad. It doesn't work anymore. You know better.
I loved Dash trying to get me to watch his bicycle trick yesterday.
Oh.
Okay, I just realized I did something.
What?
Do you not want me to say your kids' names on the podcast?
Dash is actually his middle name, so I don't mind. I don't care.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I post pictures of them everywhere, so.
Okay. It just hit me for a second. I was like,
look, this is okay. You are so like on top of it, like kids, like shouldn't say names. And I was worried about mentioning where wrestlers eat after events. Like, what? Whoa, who am I? I'm like, yeah, put my kids on the internet, but hey, don't say these wrestlers' names on here because maybe I want them to have a meal by themselves.
I'm going to go buy them a Bud Light at Tally-Ho at 3 a.m.
I don't think it might. I think it's fine.
All right. Do we need to clear this with April before we make a final decision?
I got to clear everything with April.
Maybe Grease was right.
Oh.
I'm kidding. I love Elijah Craig toasted.
Now this, we're finally getting into like...
It smells so good. You know what I love to do with this? Put it in an old-fashioned.
I could imagine. I haven't had this in an old-fashioned, but...
When we got the media kit from Elijah Craig... you know what it was? It was when they sent out their old-fashioned mix.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was, their syrup. They, said it goes best with Elijah Craig small batch. I was like, that's all well and good, but I want to try this with Elijah Craig toasted. It was phenomenal.
I could imagine. This is like... It's like chocolate and... It's almost a s'more, but you don't have a marshmallow on it. It's like graham cracker chocolate just melted together, a little smoky.
I don't know. I still get some toasted marshmallow.
Think so?
Yeah.
I get a lot more chocolate on this.
Yeah.
94, and I always say, oh, imagine this at barrel proof, but I think this is great at 94.
You did text me yesterday and mistype, and you said you had ECBP toasted, and
You're
I was
like, what?
For a second, I was like, how did he get the new product from Heaven Hill before I did?
I got to step up my game. I got to show that I can do something for this podcast.
You've started emailing my contact at Heaven Hill and saying, hey, Perry doesn't want you to contact him anymore. Contact me instead. I'm the new co-host.
You get on my Instagram and I start reviewing stuff before it gets on the show. You're like, what? What is this?
How did this even make it to him?
Oh, but this is a great toasted product.
Yeah. And everybody kept saying that Michter's had the better toasted bottles. I don't know if I fully agree with that. I like Elijah Craig toasted better than any of the toasted products I've had from Michter so far.
We're going to have to get the new batch of Michter's toasted bourbon. They came out that a new batch is coming out. They hadn't released one for like 4 years. It had been toasted rye, toasted sour mash, but not just the white label toasted bourbon.
Is it a white label?
Yeah, isn't it like a white? It's kind of white and maroon.
I have no idea. Let me look.
Just
if it's a white label, that's sleek.
Regular Michter's toasted.
Oh, you just mean like the...
Yeah, I guess it's more like
the regular label that they have.
Yeah, plain label.
Yeah.
I guess white. It's more of a tan.
It's like off-white.
Off-white.
Yeah.
But I haven't had regular Michter's toasted in a while. That being said, Elijah Craig toasted, you can get that. It's just as good.
I can't remember. Is it regularly available? Question mark.
Elijah Craig?
Yeah, the toasted.
The toasted? I don't think so.
Is it one? No, okay. It's not regularly available, but it is like an annual release now, isn't it?
I've seen it be released several times.
Yeah.
It's just not always there.
This is one that I don't often turn to. I think this is actually my second bottle, though.
I have one, and only because I have one of them, I don't really go to it a lot. But I'm glad we had it today.
Yeah, me too. I haven't had this in a long time, honestly. But I do think that our palates are pretty well prepped now for more toasted products. And I say we go ahead and knock this review out, because there are 2 other higher proof bottles that you brought that I would like to eventually get to. So
no, I think we did good. I think we got a couple of different variations of toast and regular Basil Hayden, and we can make a fair Okay, you're the art guy here. Talk about this packaging.
Yuck. Oh, sorry. I had water. I added water to my glass that had the Basil Hayden in it.
You just ruined the water.
I literally ruined the water. So, this packaging. First and foremost, this is a huge step up from the original. This is a much needed update, I would say. You good?
I don't know. It's spam.
Okay. I have gotten no less than 6 spam calls already today.
I've gotten so much more spam the last little bit. It's been weird.
Are you in debt too? No, sorry.
How many bills have I put off?
This is your final disconnection notice. Do you like hot water? Well, good luck, buddy. No, anyway. They needed to do this update. But I don't think they did a really good job.
Turn it around for a second. That's...
It looks...
Are we going to get in trouble if I just bash this for a second? I don't want to, keep us from getting any products.
We don't get anything from Jim Beam anyway.
Okay, never mind. That belt, I hate that thing.
Do you?
I don't like the belt.
I think it's unique.
But
I mean, nobody else is doing it, but it is awkward.
It doesn't look like it fits that.
I
don't know. It just looks like it's on there. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't want to be around anymore.
I don't know.
There's too much stuff on me. I'm going to rip the head off.
It was interesting, okay?
You thought it would be funny. I thought it would be interesting. It's the best line in that sketch. Anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too critical. Maybe I am. But I don't think that this reads very well at all. I think the text is too small, especially against a mostly light color.
Yeah.
Right? I will say this, though. It definitely stands out on the shelf. It's unique enough.
Yeah.
I think that the copper belt, if it is copper, I think that it is a unique piece, though, for it. So...
It looks better than the old one, I will admit. I just don't like the belt. I'm not a big fan of the belt.
That's fair.
I like to just have my jeans sagging, I ain't a big fan of belts.
I was going to say something, and I'm just really happy that I didn't. It is still 80 proof.
Artfully aged.
This is apparently a new mash bill as well. Let me look this up.
They actually put the tasting notes on here.
Don't read it.
I'm not. I saw notes, and I glanced over it. I'll read it afterwards, see what I think.
So, this is coming from the Basil Hayden website. The latest permanent release from Basil Hayden consists of an entirely new brown rice mash bill.
A new mash bill?
Yeah.
So this isn't like regular Basil Hayden. Okay.
Replaces the traditional rye grain with brown rice. Okay. Not winning too many points in my book before we even get to it. I want to say this too. I'm going to say this right up front. I overpaid for this.
You mean this wasn't free?
I only saw it in one store.
I really haven't seen it.
And they didn't have the price of it displayed before I checked out. So I paid about twice as much for this bottle as what it should be.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do they are they just saying this tastes like toast, or was it
No,
actually...
it's finished in a toasted barrel.
Okay. Because I was like, they do all this mash bill stuff, and I'm like, are they just saying this is just toast?
I love the thought that that's the new trend in bourbon, where they're not giving you tasting notes. They're just letting you know what it tastes like by the name of the product.
Michter's cherry pie.
Wild turkey apple cobbler.
Well, I ain't gonna lie, it smells better,
It is,
but
it's still awfully light.
it smells. There's a little bit more on the nose than regular Basil Hayden, but not a lot.
It reminds me of apple cider.
Oh, like when you go. So, before pandemic, we went to some of the. What am I trying to say?
Like the apple orchards?
The pumpkin patches and apple
okay.
orchards with the kids.
Yeah.
And they give you that little bit of like fresh cider. I can see that. Or I can smell that.
I did a bunch of design work for Evan's Orchard.
Oh,
Yeah. They have signs up that I made for them, and I redid their logo and everything.
Well,
So
been there many times.
I'm famous.
Lexington famous.
Sure. Something like that.
Okay. That might taste lighter than regular Basil Hayden. That might taste more watered down to me. What do you think?
Well, I'll say this. It's opened up a little bit since I cracked it on Tuesday night.
Okay.
Or no, maybe it was Wednesday. I think I actually prefer this a little bit.
It's so light.
It is light, but I don't get that note of watered down bourbon with this like I did the original Basil Hayden. I don't think it smells like it, and I think that the mouthfeel is a little bit heavier and more substantial.
I will say there is a lot more finish on this than the regular.
I don't mind this. It's not anything that I would buy again, and I don't think that I'm going to be running to it on a regular basis. However, I think that this is a good addition to a line of products that are becoming more popular, meaning toasted finished bourbons,
Yes,
or whiskeys.
So there is, I'm getting, not up front, but right towards the back, a wheat, not like a wheated bourbon, but like a actual wheat bread.
Uh-huh.
Almost, I don't know if that's the brown rice that you were talking about on the mash bill, but there is a kind of like a wheat that is actually refreshing. Like, I enjoy that. Once again, 80 proof, I think.
It's really it's really light and crisp up front. I think that it does still kind of maintain that like apple cider note, and even kind of like fresh apples, honestly. But there's a little bit of like allspice as it starts to roll into the finish. Some like vanilla extract. It's all very sweet. I mean, there's not much dark.
Yeah. It's
Maybe a slight, like, cacao nib or cocoa nib, whatever it is, like midway through the palate. But it's, as far as Basil Hayden products go, I don't mind it.
I would prefer this over the regular label.
I agree. I honestly think that I like this more than the sour mash that we tried.
I think this has a much better finish than the sour mash.
I think it's just a more substantial whiskey. I don't think it's not nearly as heavy as the Elijah Craig.
Right.
By any means.
I guess if you put it on that category of the people who don't really drink barrel proof or cask strength, then they are used to like Basil Hayden products. Like, this is a good, I would say a good entry to something different. Like if, you said, hey, this is toasted or toast, they probably would understand that, when they took a drink that it's different than regular Basil Hayden.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Oh, it absolutely does.
You want to hear the notes that they put on there?
Let's.
Notes. They just said notes. Toasted wood,
Duh.
vanilla,
Yeah, duh.
light mouthfeel.
Yeah.
That's their notes. Finish, sweet caramel.
Maybe.
I don't get any caramel. Is it caramel?
I say caramel.
Caramel.
I like that new wrinkle, though, that you just added in. Because it's usually, is it caramel or caramel? And you said caramel.
Caramel.
So now there's 3 options. Maybe 4 if you say caramel,
But
which makes it sound super douchey.
Oh, God. Caramel. But there is a unique wheat bread note that I get that it's refreshing. It's not bad.
It kind of, like, I kind of can see myself drinking this during the fall, like around a campfire.
Yeah,
I bet this would be great in, like, a spiked apple cider.
I could see that.
Look at me trying to reconcile my feelings for a Basil Hayden product.
Hey, we're being honest, though.
We are. I mean,
How much did you pay for this, though?
can I tell you what the MSRP is so I don't feel bad?
Yeah, tell me what the MSR.
I'll tell you off air how much I paid for
Okay.
this. MSRP is $50. I think it's about $15 overpriced.
I'd get this if it was $25.
So you think it's 50% overpriced?
Possibly.
I guess 100%.
I put this on the same shelf I would the variations of Benchmark.
Yeah, that's a good way to.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's a little step up, but it's still Benchmark. This is a little step up. It's still Basil Hayden.
Yeah,
So that's where I'm at.
yeah. It's not the worst thing that I've had
No.
by a long shot.
It's better than I thought it was going to be.
I totally agree. We will do a full numerated review of this one because I do think that it's worth.
Yeah. Well, this is something that
Breaking
I
it
think a
down.
lot of people are, have talked about, they can get. So,
Yeah, and if they're considering buying it, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. I don't think that this is a straight up pass. I think that this is, if you know somebody with it, try it first and make your decision based off of that. But $50 is quite a bit of money for what I believe this product to be. So, the scoring system that we use is nose, palate, finish, and price. Each category is out of 5, final score out of 20. So, the nose is just kind of there. There's not much going for it. But it's also not like, it's not quite middle of the road either. You know what I mean?
there's more on the nose than there are regular Basil Hayden.
Yeah. I'm going to give this a 2.
If I gave Basil Hayden a 0 on the nose, I'd give this a 1.5.
I feel like you're being more critical of this than I am.
I kind of am. I don't know.
You're getting like angry.
No, I'm not angry. Never. I never really get angry, period. I just think... I
just
don't know.
keep describing what's not happening. Oh, his face is turning red. Oh, now it's blue. Oh my gosh. Wow, he really turned Super Saiyan over there. That's crazy. If Napa went Super Saiyan 3, would he have regular
Goatee.
length?
All goatee. His goatee.
His goatee would be down to his feet.
I mean, his mustache would just go, wah, all over the place.
But would he grow, like, you know how Goku grows? Daggone it. Look, another spam call.
They heard us talking about our bills.
You're on a podcast. Stop calling me.
Wait, what? No, I want to be on the podcast.
This is for barrel rings. I don't even know what I was talking about.
We got off on a Dragon Ball Z tangent.
Yeah, we did.
So.
But I think it's a 2. I don't think that it's substantial. I also don't think that it's really inviting all that much, but it's not bad. I just want more from it.
Yeah.
A toasted finish is supposed to introduce this complex, rounded, diverse flavor profile, and this just missed the mark.
I think especially right now with the amount of products we have, toasted, that word toast, well, it says toast. It doesn't say toasted, sorry. But
Stupid.
that makes you think of something special. Like with the amount of, Michter's toasted, Elijah Craig toasted. Now we're getting a Master's Keep that's supposed to be toasted, I believe. Yeah. Toasted makes you think special, hard to get. I want to try that. And I don't know. I just don't feel like it's in that category.
Yeah. If we're talking special, it's special in the way that it's better than regular Basil Hayden.
This is my special boy.
This is my special boy podcast. What was your score on the nose?
1.5, 1.5.
Okay, that's totally fair. Palate, I think, is pretty weak. I'm going to give that a 1.5. So it's really flying colors here.
I'll go 1.5 too. I think you get about as much on the nose as you do the palate. So yeah. I would have to give it a 1.5.
Finish though. I think the finish is really where this shines.
I'll give it a little bit more on the finish.
I'm actually going to give it a 3. It is lingering. It actually does kind of make me want to go back for another sip and enjoy what is still hanging around. But there's no Kentucky Hug. Mm-mm. It's 80 proof. Of course there's not going to be. And it doesn't really introduce much more to it aside from, those like very light toasted marshmallow notes. Very light caramel. It's just all around light.
It's very light. I'm going to go 2.5, 2.5.
That's fine.
Just because there is this unique wheat bread I get on the finish. And I like that. But it doesn't jump out and hit me, but it's there. Mm-hmm. So
price at $50. Man, it's just so much for an LE. Well, excuse me, it's not even an LE. This is a permanent addition to their line.
I think I would maybe justify it a little more just if it was an LE because LEs are more expensive. If this is on the shelf all day at $50, no.
I'm good. 2.
1.
Okay. 0. Happy New Year.
I mean, it's just $50 is a lot.
It's a lot.
And you got to, there's people who they have the extra cash to do this. There's people like us who have kids. We got to think a little bit more about that stuff. Mm-hmm. And look at all the other stuff on the shelf that's under $50.
I mean, okay, I don't disagree with you on that at all. For less money, you can buy a bottle of Rare Breed.
I mean, how much was the Elijah...
And a Miller High Life, to go with it.
Elijah Craig toasted is...
it's like 40.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
And higher proof.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about the same age, though, I would say. Yeah. I mean, I think Basil Hayden is typically about 8 years old, which is really about as low as Elijah Craig gets as well.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'll be nice. I'll give it a 1.5.
I ain't being nice. $50, I'm not getting this.
The mutant side comes out here.
I kind of
I'm the best at what I do, bub.
I went full like dad, Family Guy, start budgeting in my head right then. Can I fit this in? I'm not fitting this in.
I would like for you to one day come in and not tell me, but you've shaved your beard down to Wolverine mutton chops. That would be so funny.
You saw me with my beard shaved, haven't you? Remember when I had to shave it at the beginning of, due to my job, I work in healthcare. I couldn't wear a mask before I was vaccinated because it wasn't.
I don't think I've seen that.
I'll have to show you a picture.
Please do.
I had to because of the masks, and
Yeah.
it's not pretty. I look like Mean Gene Okerlund, basically. I left a mustache.
Oh,
Yeah, it was bad.
terrific.
Yes.
Did you leave the soul patch too?
No, it was straight mustache.
I think you should have gone mustache soul patch. I think that's a winner of a combination that definitely says I've thought about killing somebody before with every intention of following through.
I'll tell you
Please don't end that. Please don't say after I just made that statement. I have thought about that before, which is how that seemed like it was going to go.
No. I'll tell you about it later.
Okay. I don't feel any better about this situation after you said that. So my final score was an 8 out of 20.
6.5 out of 20.
This is again, it's not a full don't drink this review for me. It's just there's better stuff out there.
Yeah.
I think that also if you are interested in it and you find it, I go for it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be buying another bottle of this.
No.
I might try to sell an open bottle.
Go on. Put it on Facebook Market.
I lose all of my rights to Facebook. I change it. I come back and I create a new profile, and it's Perry definitely not trying to sell his bottle of Basil Hayden
Perry
Ritter.
Toast.
Perry Toast Ritter. Well, that was fine. I say we drink those other two things that you brought.
Okay.
While we talk about some tips and bits.
Yes. So I brought a Nulu, which is MGP. It's a 5-year, 2-month, 114 proof. It's from Total Wine. I don't know how long it was in a toasted barrel. It's not. So these last two I have, in my opinion, I don't know what Perry will say, but these are.
Sorry, I just got a picture from my wife of nerd gummy clusters.
I'm going to have.
I'm 12.
You know me and nerds, especially gummy.
Funky nerds.
There's more nerd stories somewhere down there.
Anyway, so these last two that we had.
So the last
What
two.
is that supposed to mean? Why did you say that and then snicker into your glass? Sorry, I just cut out a bit there that Eric reminded me of.
So these two products, in my opinion, are what too much toasted does and what toasted does just right.
Oh wow.
This is really like when
Am
you
I
get down
supposed to decide which one is which in that case?
So, I mean, if I tell you about these as I'm tasting them, you'll probably figure out how I feel. So this is the highest proof toasted product that we've had today. 5-year MGP.
It kind of smells like stale cigarettes.
So we're kind of on the same board here. I feel like this is too, like this does not work with the toasted aspect. Like it's too much. There's just too much of this.
Yeah.
It's very like overwhelming on the nose. And the palate is so sweet to me that it's hard to get anything out of it. It's just too much.
Huh.
It's almost the exact opposite of the other products. It's like the other products were low proof, toasted. Get a little bit. This is higher proof, toasted. And it's just overwhelming, just sweetness. Like you can't even like decipher what's going on.
it's like artificial sweetness.
Exactly. It's too much.
Yeah, and I've never done this before, but this is what I imagine it would taste like if you took a bite out of a candle that was supposed to be like toasted marshmallow or like a campfire with s'mores or something. It's just so much.
Yeah. It's like when you get a new air freshener in a car and it's like just hits you. It's like, this has got to mellow out a little bit.
I gotta leave my windows down for a couple of days, even when I'm not in the car.
So
Where'd my radio go?
where am I?
What happened?
I swear it was just one. It was just one air freshener.
Who shaved my head?
It's just too much.
Yeah.
So this next one is my favorite toasted product.
I'm pumped for this one. I don't know if I've had this. It's only been like once.
This is Michter's Barrel Strength Toasted Barrel Finish Rye. If I based everything toasted on all these bottles, I think ryes would do way better toasted. And
I threw a bunch of these together, and it actually smells really good.
That's Super Toast Man, Cinnamon Toast Crunch Man over there.
Super Toast Man. So, I've talked about these guys on the show before, but so Gus Johnson, who's a YouTube creator, and his buddy Eddie Burback have a podcast together. It's called the Gus and Eddie Podcast. Yeah, this is my Bourbon Podcast is an uncreative, lazy name. Shut up. There's a literal podcast out there that's just two guys' first names and the word podcast after it. I will not accept any more criticisms about the name of this show. Anyway, so their brothers were on this week's episode, and Gus and his brother were telling the story about when they used to watch Sesame Street growing up, and there was Grover, and he had his superhero identity, Super Grover, right?
Right.
So they would do this thing when they were growing up where they would see how long, because Super Grover's catchphrase is Super Grover. They would see how long they could go without saying Grover.
Just hold it. Just pause.
Well, yeah, and so like Gus has been holding it since he was like 10. And he's 25, 26 now, maybe older than that. And he got his brother Sven to, yes, his brother's is, and he has another brother named Thor. It's fantastic stuff. To beat his brother, he wrote on like a piece of paper, Grover. And he was like, hey, Sven, read this out loud for me. And he opens it up and it's just Grover. And he's like, no!
That's great.
Anyway. So what's the proof on this? I handed it back to you before I could have looked
This
at it
one-
myself.
This one is 111.6. I have another batch. This is a 2020 batch. I have one from 2018 that's 108 proof, I believe.
Oh, the spices on this one. Oh, it's like I walked into my parents' house at Christmas.
This is Christmas in a bottle.
Do you remember those old dumb... There's like that one dumb commercial that's like, they say that you can capture time in a bottle. Do you know what I'm talking about? It always played during like The Price is Right or whatever. I had just a massive brain fart the other day. I could not remember the name for soap operas. I was like, daytime dramas?
Hey, that's the same thing.
I mean, essentially, but I had
That classic soap opera.
I had some kind of joke that I wanted to make, and I could not think of the name soap opera. And so I just completely let it go, but I was like, why can't I think of this? It was at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I hadn't had anything to drink.
It's one of those one times where you're just like, why did I think of that? Or like you wake up, why did I dream of that? Kame. I'm telling you, this pour is so good.
I want to go to sleep now. It was like comforting.
Yeah, it's such a comfort.
Oh.
It's like comfort food.
It's just like a warm blanket for my insides.
It's like, I always call this the s'more. Like, the Elijah Craig had, to me, was kind of the s'more. This is the full package. This is, you've just had a long day. You've hiked, maybe you've done something, and you've got the perfect s'more at the end of the night. I mean,
you still got the smell of like pine trees,
right,
stuck in your nose, and you're just kind of in caps or enveloped by like the outdoors.
Yeah, it's a full experience. Man. Chocolate, marshmallow, graham cracker, like
I love this.
This is the toasted product, in my opinion.
Now, if people were saying originally when the Elijah Craig Toasted came out that this was a better product and that Heaven Hill missed the mark, I would agree with them. I do think that this is much better than the Elijah Craig. But I do like the Elijah Craig for different reasons.
Yeah.
I still think that it has a lot. It's still a rewarding bourbon.
I think you have a better chance of finding the Elijah
100%.
Craig before this. Like, I was very fortunate to be able to get one of these.
Yeah.
So
I really, really like that.
That's why I want to see more toasted rye product.
Yeah.
I feel like the rye opens up and it makes more complex notes with the, quote, toasted aspect.
Yeah. It makes me want to go up to, like, the mountains.
Let's go.
Rent a cabin.
Let's go.
I'm down.
All right. We'll record, like, a whole month's worth of podcasts up in the mountains.
The last time that I banked a bunch of episodes, I thought I was going to die. So
no, but we'll be in the mountains this time.
Okay, well, that's good.
So, yes, the mountains.
We'll go.
This bottle.
I'm down. You, me, two
episodes.
microphones, weeks of episodes.
No, but I think toasted rye products is where it's at. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the rye brings out a little bit more in that toasted aspect.
I also think that it kind of helps to mellow out some of the heavier rye spice.
Yeah.
As well, which I like. I like the fact that it kind of tones it down a bit. And it's not that I dislike, heavy rye, but I think that this is just a more well-rounded experience.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've had all of our toasted products for the episode.
Toasty.
Toasty. Stay toasty, bro.
Say toasty, brah.
Broasty.
Brah.
Toasty and broasty.
Brah.
All right. Yeah. So I guess we got tips and bits now.
Tips and or bits.
What do you have to recommend to people?
I'm going to follow up on last week. I really think if you have not started watching the What If series on Disney Plus, you need to.
I haven't seen this week's episode yet.
Okay, I won't spoil
Thank
anything.
you.
This week's episode was a Doctor Strange episode. That's not a spoiler. And it is one of the most emotional animated Marvel episodes I've ever watched.
Man.
It's great. I'm in a little group with some friends from California that when Comic-Con International was going on, I went to Comic-Con with them. I met them out there. And me and one other friend go back and forth because he is not into one-off episodes of things. But I am. He wants a full, long story. I'm okay with this one. What if this person actually did this? I really think everybody should give Marvel's What If a chance. Like, it just makes you think about different things. And now, we got the multiverse. There's different things going on in different places. And this week's episode was just outstanding.
I can't wait to watch it. And
I know you enough. I know you're going to enjoy this.
The only reason that I'm putting it off is because Lucy and I have been watching them together, and we just haven't had the chance to.
Speaking of
be able to do
that,
that.
April actually watched this episode with me.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's a good, and this series you can just pick a random episode. You don't have to, if you know any Marvel movies or history, like you don't have to have watched the episode before. And she sat there, and she's a big fan of the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
And she said that was one of the best cartoons I've ever watched with you. She said cartoons, but it's a great story. I enjoy that series.
Speaking of cartoons, a couple of things. So we did a prepare your pour last night on Akira.
Akira.
I love that movie so much. I was so blown away by it. I thought it was so artfully done, and I talked about all this on Prepare. But holy crap, man. I have not been so satisfied based on, expectations like I was with this movie in a long time. I said it last night. I can't wait to go back and watch it again.
It's such a rewatchable movie.
Yeah.
Over and over.
I want to recommend something to you specifically as well. For you to kind of further understand my sense of humor. And that I think goes really well with something like I Think You Should Leave.
Okay.
And I played you a little bit of their podcast at one point last week on Pick Day.
Okay.
But it's the Auntie Donna
Oh, yes.
boys
You keep telling
from
me
Australia.
about this. Yes.
So they have a Netflix show, and they have an extensive catalog on YouTube of past videos and sketches that they've done. And they're so funny, and they're so bizarre. I just got done watching an old sketch of theirs they're supposed to be the executives at Subway trying to figure out what kind of sandwich to introduce to make people forget that Jared Fogle was a pedophile.
Oh, no.
It's really good. It's really good.
And they have a Netflix show, right?
They have a Netflix show.
Yeah.
It's only 6 episodes. So it's about the same length as I Think You Should Leave episodes as well. Anywhere from like 15 to 20 minutes. But it's don't watch it with your kids. I mean,
Parental advisory.
You shouldn't watch I Think You Should Leave with your kids.
No.
There's lots of I think about like network version of that show.
It would be
Like
a 2-minute episode.
Well, I mean, they could keep everything in, but like all the stuff that they would have to bleep.
It's like old TBS episodes where movies where they would try. It's almost like they were trying to redub it, and you'd be like, "Fark."
Yeah.
What the fark?
The one with what's the infamous one from Die Hard?
Oh, yippee-ki-yay, mother farter.
No, but there's like a specific thing that he says. I can't remember what it is. I'll have to look it up later. If I looked it up and it's important enough for me to put it in, I'll put it in right here. All right. Well, it's not super important, but I figured I'd go ahead and put it in anyway. John McClane's edited version for TV of his infamous line is turned into Yippee-ki-yay, Melon Farmer or Mr. Falcon. So I've seen multiple things on the internet. There's an episode of The Goldbergs about it too. It's good stuff. Go check it out. In between tips and bits here, I guess. All right. And I don't know if I did or not, so we'll find out together. I also there's this guy that I've been watching on YouTube. His name is, I think it's Jordan. Yeah, Jordan Fringe. And he talks a lot about like cartoon shows that we grew up on in the 90s and early 2000s that are also super nostalgic for us now. I mean, like he's got a bunch of videos on the Rugrats. He's got some on like Hey Arnold. He's got all sorts of stuff like that.
The best animation of my life.
This is one of the best cartoons I've ever watched with you. But there was a video of his that popped up today, and I was just kind of trying to find something to watch just to occupy a few minutes. And it was for a show called Class of 3000. Do you have any memory of this?
I don't. Was this the one where they were like in space?
No.
No.
So I forgot that I had watched the show when it was on. And it just kind of like watching this video unlocked like a latent memory that it just like exploded. It was created by Andre 3000 of Outkast.
Oh.
And it's about this musician who has kind of fallen out of love with the industry and the job as a whole. And he goes back to his hometown of Atlanta, and he's trying to kind of rekindle the passion for music, even though he's pretty much given up on it. And like a kid who is a fan of his comes up and meets him and convinces him essentially to teach music at their school. And the animation was really, really unique. It's all extremely lucid and fluid. And every episode, it was only 28 episodes. Every episode had a song that Andre 3000 wrote for it.
That's cool.
So every week was a new song that had been written completely from scratch.
Yeah.
And recorded and mixed and edited and everything for the show. And that was one of the reasons that it got canceled, because it just became too expensive and, you know, this, that, and the other. But really, really cool stuff. I'm going to have to go back and watch it, because already being a music guy, of course. And then also, I love Andre 3000.
Yeah.
He's so freaking talented. He's one of those kind of lost geniuses, I feel like, because he only ever really does, you know, feature verses on people's songs, but he hasn't really put any music out since Outkast disbanded. And I mean, like, we're all kind of like waiting for him to do his next big project, and it's not happened. And it's driving us crazy.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like when Frank Ocean a few years ago, I don't know if you know anything about this guy, but he's like an R&B hip hop artist, and he put out an album, kind of disappeared for a while, and then just started leaving little like hints that he might be about to put out an album. And my brother can talk to this more because he's a huge Frank Ocean fan. But it just was like these little teases. And finally he came out with like 2 albums within the course of like 2 weeks. It was wild. And so we're all kind of waiting with bated breath, I feel like, for Andre 3000 to do the same thing. Anyway, I'm going to go back and watch this show, because
it makes me want to go watch it.
I really, really want to check it out again, see how much I actually retained from watching it when I was, 10 or 11 when it first came out. But anyway, I think that about does it for this episode.
We have a review.
We do have a review. I was going to bring it up in a minute. Do you want to go ahead and read it, though?
Is it the same review?
From Ian?
No.
Huh?
I have another review.
On iTunes?
No.
Oh, is this the one from Patrick?
So I'll do this review first. So jokingly, last week we talked about having a game where somebody, maybe if they already reviewed on iTunes, they reviewed our show on a different app.
I'd like the top 5 games on the App Store or whatever.
You got to search the top 5 apps on Apple. And we do have a Candy Crush review this week. So if you go to Candy Crush on Apple, there's a 5-star review from Patrick Starkey. Says, "This is my Bourbon podcast is such a great show. Perry and Eric definitely cured isolation blues." And this is under the Candy Crush saga. So, if you've already reviewed the show on iTunes, review it on other apps, screenshot it, send it to me, and I'll read it on the show.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is one of the funny. I cannot get over the fact. If
If
anybody was going to do it, it was going to be Patrick, though.
Editing apps, photography apps, games, send it to me, screenshot it on Facebook or Instagram, send it to me. I'll read it on the show.
So freaking funny, dude. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, thanks, Patrick, for leaving a review on Candy Crush for the podcast. Thank you all so much for listening as well. We really appreciate it. Eric, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Whiskey Mutant on Instagram. Like I said, we do prepare your pour every couple of weeks on there, pairing whiskey with a comic book, movie, anime, whatever. So
And we might be moving that over to YouTube eventually.
We're thinking about
too.
it.
Creating a Whiskey Mutant YouTube page.
Oh, we'll think you'll stay tuned.
You start doing reviews and everything too.
It's just they're like, why do I keep listening to the same stuff every week? Well, they just reviewed this on the podcast.
You can also find me at PRitter1492 on all social media channels. If you want to follow the show, it's at My Bourbon Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you have not yet reviewed us in the normal place, which is under the iTunes podcast app, you can go leave us a review elsewhere. I can't believe that happened. Anyway, this is a review, though. We have a new one from Ian, that bourbon guy. 5 stars. He says, my favorite bourbon podcast. I've been listening to these guys for years, but have never written a review. These guys, and occasionally gals, have become like family. The show setup, laughs, cries, are what makes this a truly amazing podcast for anybody to enjoy. So if you want to leave a review, much like Ian did, you can head over to your podcast app of choice. I usually get emails about reviews, not just from the U.S., but internationally as well. So I'm looking at you, South Korea. That was one of the one of the biggest surprises when I first started the show was that we had listeners in South Korea. I was like, really?
Hey.
Really? That's how I said it too. Just like that.
Just like that? Just like that?
Just like that. I also, yeah.
Kame.
4 years into the podcast, and every day feels like the first day. You can find all of our apparel and merchandise at bourbonshop.threadless.com. The Big Pick Energy is going to be coming out soon, the shirt. So look out for that. If you want to subscribe to us on YouTube, it's youtube.com/thisismybourbonpodcast. Thank you, everybody who has subscribed over there. If you want to send questions or comments, you can send those to thisismybourbonshop@gmail.com. You can also do what else? I don't know. Other than support the show on Patreon.
Send us samples.
Send us samples. We'd love to get some samples. I'll keep track of them better than I have in the past. Send us a DM if you want to send us some samples. And maybe we'll bring you on the show. I don't know. That's a loose promise I shouldn't make to people.
Just don't be a creeper.
That's the biggest thing. I tried to open a P.O. box. It's expensive, dude. It was like $300 for 6 months.
Ooh.
I was like, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
So I'll give you my parents' address instead.
We'll find somebody in some shady apartment that wants to, make $10 a month or something.
Exactly.
We'll figure it out.
And Patreon, of course, patreon.com/MyBourbonPodcast for as little as $1 a month. For as little as $5 a month, you get all of the bonus content, including the pregame chats, which come out before every episode, and the bonus episodes, which are starting up again every month. Actually recorded this month's bonus episode with Swan.
Oh, Swanee.
So that is the new rule that Swan. That's the new rule. Swan can only do bonus episodes. No, that's the new role that Swan will be kind of moving into. Is for bonus episodes, he will be the Patreon co-host, I guess.
You gotta pay for Swan.
You gotta pay for Swan, and you, sir, are free.
Oh.
God, oh my gosh. All right. Well, that does it for this week. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening, as always. Until next time, I'm Perry.
I'm Eric.
And this is My Bourbon Podcast.